Hi. Has everyone awoken from the fever dream that is American Christmas? I don't know if it's different anywhere else, but it's crazy here. I feel like I woke up December 27th like I had been on drugs for a long time. Like I was like, what happened? Like I had been possessed. And I'm like, why is there like a tree in my house? Why is there like shit everywhere? Why is there so much snack food in my house? Yeah, I'm happy to be back in like an earth sign. And just kind of ready to like just recalibrate and yeah, just start looking ahead. And also, I'm in Maine, so entering the dark slumber of death, which is Maine winter. I made some little notes here. Yeah, so today's video is a little bit different. It's a speed drawing / book chat. I knew that I really wanted to. I've been wanting to chat about books, and a lot of times I even do, but it doesn't fit in, or it ends up getting cut, or and even with this one, I really don't get into the marrow of each book, but I thought this would be a fun way for me to kind of revisit my favorite books of the year. I'm a pretty voracious listener. I can't really read books because of my head injury, but I listen to a ton of books, and I consume a ton of books, and I consume a ton of like podcasts and stuff like that. So please send forth, what was the best book you read today, or what's your current favorite podcast? Because Mama's always looking. All right. What do they say? It's a little bit of housekeeping. I got a little bit of housekeeping here, right here. See, these are my notes. Mama got notes. So the aspect ratio, this is like screen recorded on my iPad, and the aspect ratio of the iPad is different from YouTube's aspect ratio. And so, so there's a lot of kind of like, I did a lot of adjusting to try to make it as watchable as possible. I think the next time I do one of these, because it was really fun, and I think I will do another one. I think I'll probably just shoot from like bird's eye of like the iPad in my hands and stuff, because I think that might be a little more interesting. I was watching someone draw that way earlier today, and it might, well, it's also like I was watching her in real time, whereas mine's sped up, and it's a little bit like seizure inducing. So yeah, but I still am really happy with it, and I think it was really fun. It was like a really fun project. And yeah, it was really tough to like choose which books, I mean, considering I probably made a list of maybe like 10%. Maybe 10% could have made the list, and then it got wheedled down to like maybe, I don't know if I even drew 10 books. So it was kind of hard to decide what was the best. But the number one best was The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. Like, I can't recommend this book enough. It was 30 hours, and I do intend to listen to it again. Like, that's how good it was. Starting off, we have Carrie by Stephen King. I read 2 Stephen King novels this year, and they both made it to my best reads of 2024 list. And I should mention, these are the only Stephen King books that I have ever read. Number one, I am kind of a scaredy cat, and so I have avoided reading his books because horror or scary. Number two, I just kind of figured they weren't going to be very good books. They kind of fall into the category that I would snobbily refer to as like a grocery store book. There were other grocery store books on this list, but I think I was just like, oh, there's no way they're like actually good books, you know, like, and I was wrong. So that's always nice. It's always nice to be proven wrong and find that, like, oh wow, this guy is actually a phenomenal writer, you know. So yeah, loved the movie, so that's why I chose to read Carrie first. And I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, is this a work of feminism? What do the feminists out there think about this work? I mean, it was definitely, I think it was written in 1973, so we have to talk about, you know, second wave feminism, and, you know, that had to affect the writers on some subconscious level, at the very least. His choice to write this, you know, this bullied and beleaguered protagonist who then, you know, comes to power and makes everyone pay in the end. Spoiler alert. Go watch the movie if you haven't. So, next up on the list we have The Shining by Stephen King. I chose for this book to be the next Stephen King book that I read, partially because I already knew the movie. I really liked the movie. And then also because I had been told from several people that Stephen King hated the changes that Kubrick made to the movie, and that he later like made a TV miniseries of The Shining that he felt, I guess, was more accurate to the book. So I was just very curious, like, what the changes were, and I would say it's the hotel itself is a much bigger character. If you've seen the movie The Shining, it's kind of a fever dream, which I personally enjoy, but you know, it does lack a lot of sort of the internal journey that all these characters are going on. So maybe that was what he didn't like about it. I don't know. Either way, the book was great. The movie is great too. If you like, you know, insane surreal fever dreams, it's fantastic. Go look it up. Next up, we have The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. This was the best book I definitely have read this year. It's one of the best books I've ever read my whole life. It probably will be for the rest of my life. I thought this book was fucking phenomenal. It's a Pulitzer Prize winner, which doesn't necessarily mean anything. Have you ever gone through and read a bunch of Pulitzer Prize winning novels? Some of them are hot piles of garbage. I literally read one recently and was like, did I get the abridged version? Like, what? Like, this, there's got to be something else going on here. I also read this year The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which is also fantastic, but didn't make it to the list because, I don't know, because it just didn't. Next up we have Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I just really enjoyed the world of Russia, 19th century Russia, I think, or 18th century Russia. I don't know when it takes place, but I just really enjoyed it. I liked it. I like a winter. I like a wintry book. I like a snowy, wintry book. And I don't know, I just thought it was interesting, and it you know, it gets really into, you know, character development and stuff when you have a book that long. And all the history and stuff like that. I really do enjoy, you know, world building
I really want to escape. I want to go someplace. Next up we have Killing Commendatory by Haruki Murakami. I have read many, not all, but many of Murakami's books. I really love them. They're maybe not for everyone. They are weird. If you like David Lynch, like they're very kind of surreal. They're really like, what the heck is going on? There's a lot of sort of like Jungian shadow depth psychology kind of stuff. Oh, I just love it though. He's such an incredible writer. 1Q84 is such a good book. Wind Up Bird Chronicle, Kafka on the Shore. There's so many, and they're all crazy, and I just love them. I read in one of his books that he writes in English, which is his second language, in order to find a simplicity in a language, and then translates it back to Japanese for it to be published in Japanese, which I don't know, I just thought was really a weird and fascinating process. Really great books. I love all of his books. Highly recommend. Next up we have The Ghost Bride by Yang Jae Chu, and I read 2 of her books this year, and I also read The Fox Wife, which I think was released this year. I liked this book a little bit more than that. I think I probably liked maybe The Night Tiger the best. That was the first one I read. The Ghost Bride, I think I just liked the like spookiness of it. They're all kind of like Japanese mythos, or I shouldn't say Japanese, Asian mythos, and they're just really fun, great books. Next up we have V.E. Schwab, Fragile Threads of Power. This is the 4th book in the Darker Shades of Magic series. One of my favorite writers for sure. Her books are just fun, and they're well written, and they're a great snowy day read. Like, if you just want to escape into like a fun, easy world, great writing, Addie LaRue is a really great book. Vicious, those books are great. I mean, I really like absolutely all of her books, and so I had to include her newest book on this list. Next up, we have Bluebeard's Castle by Anna Biller. Anna is a filmmaker by trade, I'm going to go ahead and say. She made the movie The Love Witch, which is fucking fantastic. Go watch it. It's filmed on film, which is crazy. It looks absolutely incredible. Super fun, weird horror movie. And she makes feminist work. This is a book about women and domestic violence, but it's set, even though it is actually a modern book, but she does this incredible world building and makes it very interesting and otherworldly somehow, while taking place in kind of the modern age. Maybe it's because it's kind of European feeling, but I don't know. I love her work. I think she's incredible. I want her to make more movies, and I look forward to whatever she does next. I really debated putting this book on here because I'm like, is this one of the best books? Best books. Like, what? What do I mean when I say best book? And I mean, I still don't know if it's deserving of the list, but it was a fun read. It's one of those things that, like, you kind of hate it, but then, I don't know, it was fun, and it was fun to, like, you know, talk shit about it to my friends, and then, you know, and you see all the TikToks, and like, of course I read Iron Flame in January. We've got the third book of the series. I'm really excited for that. So I think just including it for its like for just being like a cultural phenomenon, yeah. I feel like I have a lot of complaints about this book, but ultimately it was just really fun, you know? All right, next we have Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. She's such an incredible writer, and I read a lot of stuff in the, like fiction genre novels, whether it's fantasy, romantasy, sci-fi, all of that stuff. And there were a lot of books that I read this year that I was like, I can't even remember what this book was about. Like, even though I know, like, oh yeah, I really enjoyed that, but like blanking, right? So it has to stand out in a way, right, to be memorable, because you have so much similar content with all these genre books. And what I like about Naomi Novik's books is, number one, she's a really beautiful writer. And number two, they're just different feeling. This was a sort of Russian Jewish folktale fantasy that I just felt like, oh, I've never read a book like that. Again, similar to Anna Karenina, I loved the winteriness of it. It was just a different world. Like, I don't know this world. I haven't been to this world. And I feel like when you are consuming the amount of literature that I am in a year, that just doesn't happen as much as you'd like it to. I'm trying to think. I have since read a couple more of her. Oh, I did read all of the Scholomance books. They're fine. They're very YA. But you know, if you just really need like a night, like a really light, low commitment sort of read, you might enjoy that. Or you know, it's a good book for a, you know, tween type reader. Actually, it's a trilogy. And they were fun, easy, you know. So you know, it was hard to decide what should go on this list. Did I make the right choices? I don't know. I think so. I really enjoyed all of these books, and you know, I look forward to reading more. And let me know in the comments what you. If you read any of these, if you liked any of them, if you're looking at this book collection and you're thinking like, oh, you should really read XYZ, please send it, because I'm always looking for new book recommendations. And thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.